your story. Come on and tell your story. Come on and tell your story. Motivated every day. Living in victory every day. Living in victory every day. No matter what they say. No matter what they say. Living in victory every day. Living in victory every day. No matter what they say. Living in victory every day.
Nicole Larsen L.I.V.E, living in victory every day.
Though we know that death is an inevitable part of life, but what of the sudden death of a child?
I got a phone call. Good day, I'm calling from the Arima police station. Could I speak to Mr. Eric Alverez, please? Speaking. And I heard when the person kind of sucking their breath. Didn't know what to expect. I thought Jamie inside sleeping. Not doing that, she went out. She told the mother.
Plus expert guests Natalie O'Brady McDowell and author June Doyle with some insightful and motivational messages, and guest artist Sean Daniel. It's Nicole Larsen L.I.V.E, living in victory every day. Stay with us.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
This is Nicole Larsen L.I.V.E, and we're living in victory every day. One of the most harrowing experiences any parent could endure is the fact that they have to bury their child. It's something that is unnatural. We expect to outlive our children. And so today we're going to be talking to a father who had to do just that. And I don't want to say I'm excited, but I think it's going to be quite enlightening because I have with me this gentleman, and he goes by the name of Eric Alverez. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure.
Let me just say this from the onset. Eric says to me, Nicole, I could be myself. I want to be me. And I said to him, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Cool.
You are who you are. And I'll tell you something, Eric, from the onset. Because you are affable, you are fun, you are endearing to us, to people who know you, it was even more difficult for us when we heard about your daughter's passing. So today, yes, you're going to be taking us through the journey, but we are also going to be talking about her life. You're good with that?
Yeah.
You sure?
Bring it.
You sure?
Bring it. My eyes might water a little bit, but that
is okay. That's
part
what
of
we
the
want.
journey.
Yeah, that's what it is. Tell me, when you found out that you were having a girl child, how was that feel?
You know, it's strange. One of the first things that came to mind is I started to wonder how some people just end up where you're forever in court, police looking for you to serve warrant for maintenance of your child. I was so excited. I said, nah. There's I don't know how to put it in words up to now.
Yeah.
But it's like I was literally entering into a new space. And even before her birth, my whole life changed. Everything was now about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. You were one of those that used to put your head on the stomach and wanting to hear the heartbeat.
My head, kiss up the belly, all kind of thing. Yeah. Never sang though, or did poetry. But yeah, kiss up the belly. Nah, I didn't sing up new poetry, but kiss up the belly and rub up and lean on it, all kind of.
Because you wanted her to know who her father is.
Yeah. Because I saw some stuff over the years, some documentaries and stuff like that, that basically shows that even in the womb, there's a connection that starts to happen with the child. Yeah. And I wanted that.
And you wanted that connection.
At the time, I didn't even know what it was going to be a girl. I just knew my wife was pregnant. I said, right, life starts here. Yeah. Let me start this action going. And that basically was it.
So she was your firstborn?
Firstborn.
Okay. Yeah.
Firstborn.
Yeah. And so you named her?
Everything has a story behind it.
Let me hear this
the
one.
name I wanted to give her. That time, African names was, big. African and Asian and stuff like that. So I went searching because of what she meant to me at the time. And I came up with her name, Isoki, which means a precious gift from God. Because that's what she was to me. My wife didn't too like the name for whatever reason. And we eventually named her Jamie. But being me, I like to be different, I like to be unusual. So we reworded the name. We lettered it, I should say. So it is spelled J-A-I-M-E. Yeah. Jamie Elizabeth Inez Alverez. Again, most people have one middle name. We decided to give her two. Again, just to show how unique she was to us, and just to give us some sense of uniqueness. Growing up, she just knows she's different. Even from her very name, it's different from everybody else.
Now, when you said different, you also wanted her to know that who she is as a woman.
Oh, yeah.
You are beautifully and wonderfully made.
Oh, yes.
You affirmed her, let her know that daddy loves you first. So anybody that come in around her, they have to know, hey, my child knows the best.
One of the things I try to instill with both of them, both my children, is a sense of independence. So even as a young girl growing up, every little thing, daddy, how to do so? Daddy, you could do, daddy, you could open this one. And my first question will be, did you try on your own first? And I try to teach them to stand on their own. I wouldn't always be around. As much as I would help, but at least make the first effort. If you fail, no problem. I'm right there back in there, I'm right there to help. But don't let your first move to solve a situation be to ask a question. You would find yourself in a position where you're alone, there's nobody to talk to, there's nobody to ask anything except God and you had to do something. So from very young, I started, inculcate that in them.
And so if at first you don't succeed, try again. That was also something that you wanted her to know about life. You gave her some good life lessons.
Yeah, I'll try.
As a father.
I'll try.
So tell me, growing up maybe around 10, 11, taking her to school, that kind of thing.
I didn't take her to school.
You didn't take her to school?
No, again, the sense of independence. So from very
You send
early,
the child on her own, you show her how to go.
No. No.
Eric.
No.
Okay, let me hear you.
We use the school bus system.
Yes.
But they were responsible for getting out there on time, make sure you get the bus to come back home. We would keep in communication with teachers and other people, the bus driver, to make sure, that they're there at the appointed time, whatever. But as much as possible, learn to stand on your own. You have the support backing you when you need it, but life is such, you would find yourself at some stage on your own, and you had to be able to manage things.
Did wifey agree, or she found you a little
no. She was part and parcel with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they basically handled their business through school, from early primary right up to secondary school.
Yeah. And so there's this love that a father has for their daughter and vice versa when they're small. All right? Everything is daddy. She was a daddy's girl, obviously.
Yeah.
Eric, why are you smiling like Chicken Little? So you should see your face.
No, boys, listen, the memories. No,
you're reminiscing.
Yeah, it was something else. I have a picture. When she was born, I was actually in college training, PTC. And every week, your family was allowed to come in. They call it visiting, a visiting day. So your family allowed to come and spend like an hour with you, talk, because we locked in there for, at the time it was like 6 months, we locked down. So once a week, the family could come in. And I remember the first day, my wife came with my little baby girl. Listen, I walking up and down that barracks like a king, You make it joke. I tell her, I don't know, I couldn't understand, and I still don't understand why some fathers is just like, you have a child and it's just like, and it's just like knowing them.
Okay, so Eric, when we come back, because we have to take a little break now, we will continue to hear about this little piece of gold that you have, right?
My precious.
Precious. Nicole Larsen Live. We are living in victory every day. More still to come.
After about 10 to 15 seconds, she said the pain stopped.
We're back on track with you on Nicole Larsen Live, living in victory every day. And of course, we have Eric Alverez, and he's sharing on his daughter, her life, reminiscing. Just before the break, you were joking about a little piece of gold. And you were also making the point that you cannot understand how fathers can have children and not bond with them and not want to be a part of their lives.
Yeah. Now I know it may sound very superficial, if that is the term I would use, because I'm also aware of the kinds of relationships some of those fathers have with their children's mothers. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, it comes down to how people handle and process things. Because I have a bad relationship with the lady, I can't express love as I want to with the child. Mm-hmm. And one of the things one of my pastors taught me years back, he said, people are not problems. People have problems, mm-hmm. people cause problems, but the people are not the problem. Mm. You know, so if I can separate the personality from the situation, I could deal with things. So even though me and the lady, whoever she may have issues, I don't have an issue with the child, mm-hmm. and it's my child. Yeah. Why would I not want to take care of my child, regardless of what happened there? Yeah. And I could never understand that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, some people, I don't know.
Well, you know what, this is an opportunity for you to perhaps educate men on that, because you hear from fathers saying, look, I love my child, I love my children, but because of the relationship I have with the mother, I am going to keep myself away from the child. So it's almost as though it's a, I don't know if you're trying to hit at the child, not really hit at the child, but to get to the mother.
Using the child to hit
Correct.
at the mother, yeah.
Exactly.
And of course it happens vice versa.
Vice versa as well.
Yeah.
But not you and a piece of gold. No. All right, so let me ask you something. She's 10, 11, is still daddy's girl. They reach a certain age, Eric, where they start to look at themselves and they feel in themselves, as we say. Yeah. How was that for you, that transition, where she's a young lady?
Yeah. Well, again, because I've been preparing them for life, mm-hmm. that became part of the package. Because again, just as I wouldn't always be there for you, I know you would always be around me. And at some point, you would want to go. You would want to go places. You would want to start life with friends. You would want to start, So my thing is just to try to make sure you're safe in all ways. You're comfortable. You're well looked after, but allow you to be you. And if you look at some of the pictures that I would have sent, she loved to be out, with friends and family, and she loved that kind of environment, that kind of adventure kind of thing.
But I heard she was very outgoing, very warm. But somebody said she wasn't as loud as Eric, They made when she walked in the room, people knew who she was, but it was a sort of, I don't want to say soft, but you describe it for me, because It was like, I would call it a lady's loudness. Yeah.
Loud in the sense of her presence was there, but she didn't have to say anything to let you know that she's here. Yeah. She just stepped in the room and was like, ooh, Jamie Reach kind of thing. Yeah. With me, different. I might have announced my arrival.
No, you don't, Eric. As soon as you walk in, people know who you are. And I think I'm going to use that word, energy, that you carry. I think it has to do a lot with your faith as
Yeah,
well. And even as I'm going in this direction, I say to you, that was one of the reasons why it was perhaps so difficult for us when we heard what happened. Because, I mean, you're a saltfish, we. You know, when you come into a room, you light it up, you always have a word of encouragement, you're smiling, you're grinning. When you see me, I used to think it's only me, you used to do that too, you know, you kind of kiss the hand and all of that. You have a way of making people feel special. So when you were in your pain, oh my goodness, it was difficult for us to say. What do we say? The right thing. How do we say it? But I'm going a little ahead of myself. So talk to me. She's growing up now. You're teaching her how to be a young lady, what to expect, what not to take as a young lady, etc. And wifey, what was her role as well?
Again, she was. We never had issues. Not. And when I say issues, I mean we would discuss things and have disagreements, and you know, but we never had issues in that real sense. So we would usually try to, as much as possible, support each other. So if I take a stance on something, she backs it up. If she takes a stand on something, I back it up.
Yeah.
Never to give the impression with the children that we fighting, we incohesive.
Right.
So even though I would have been the one to set the ground rules, you know, I had full support of my wife.
Yeah. Well, I heard so, because I did my little research. And you're absolutely right. You all were like two peas in a pod. There was a cohesiveness and a love, you know, the four of you, you know, that family. Was
and we tried to, for instance, a big taboo with some people is to kiss in front of the children. Now, the taboo might be how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, it can be done very respectful.
Yeah.
You know, but even things like that, we never hid. We try to be as open as possible.
So you were affectionate with wifey in front of, gosh, I love it.
But in a very respectful manner.
Yes.
So they learn very early how pure love could be. You know, so everything is almost as if there was a long-term plan, which I wasn't even seeing, but you know, like I know I'm going somewhere, and there's a long-term plan of how I want them to be, how I want them to grow up. I always remember, I went to a friend's house many years ago, and we were there in his bedroom liming, and somebody, let me just say somebody, I'll tell you who it is after, but this big guy just run in the room, instant morning, and just jump on him, on a friend. And it's like, little cough and thing, lock neck.
What do you mean? Fight you talking about?
Well, I thought it was fight.
I
thought it was fight. Where they going at it? Next thing they just separate and they started laugh. And I say, boy, your big brother real wild, boy. He said, no, that's my father. I said, what?
Yeah.
That, I said, I want to have that kind of relationship with my children.
Yeah.
Where we could ramp and play, but there's still respect.
The respect.
In all of that.
Yeah.
You ain't going to talk to me how you want.
Yeah.
You ain't going to shoo and stroops and all that kind of thing. But we could be play rough. We could be hard. But in an extremely loving kind of way. That opened my eyes to
And
something.
I have seen that between you and your son. Well, I never see him ramp and jump on you, but I've seen that relationship, that, you know, that openness. He can tell you how he feels and vice versa. It's a friendship with a respect, because obviously you're the father.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I am reminiscing with you and I smiling and grinning as if I'm part of you. All right, so we're going down this journey. Of course, we said we're reminiscing on the life of your precious piece of gold.
When she was 16 going on 17, or somewhere around there, she was part of the Arima Senior Comprehensive School football team. She never got a chance to play because of that. So at that point, she started to have real painful periods. So we didn't know what it was, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. We knew about fibroids and stuff like that before, and cysts and stuff like that. So we went to a number of different doctors, Eric Williams Medical Science Complex. Everybody kept saying the same thing. Nah, she just have a cyst. Just do this, take that, and it will go away. And everybody. Until we realized, nah, there's something more here. This is not normal. So a friend of ours Mrs. Gemma Benny, recommended a gynecologist that she knew very well. She said, brace yourself. He said, Mr. and Mrs. Alverez, for a 16-year-old girl, your daughter's inside is like an 80-year-old woman. It was that deteriorated. On top of that, she said she only has one working kidney, and it's not even 100% working. The other one dried up like a prune. Right? And specifically, what she was suffering with is something he called a chocolate cyst. So whenever she had a period, rather than the blood flow out, it was actually gathering in a pouch and just growing. At the time she had the first operation, it grew to the size of, I think, 11 centimeters. That was huge. And that's where the first miracle came. Because the doctor told us, I have the DVD and all home. Her heart stopped while under the operation table. And they had to find a heart specialist to revive. So you know that is not no 10 seconds thing because there's no heart specialist on standby. So it means they had to, however long that took, they had to find somebody who had been in the hospital to get him there to revive her. And that was the first miracle. Yeah. So we were told that the operation went well. We were told that she should have at least a couple of years well, pain-free. Nicole, she didn't have 2 months. It just kept coming right back. Now, I come into something here that blew my mind when I figured it out. And this will be an eye-opener for a lot of people. About 2 years after, she had to do her next operation. This time we took her to Sangre Grande General Hospital. The first one we did it at West Shore. We had people who helped fund it and that kind of thing. This one, we found out that there's somebody at Sangre Grande Hospital who does similar kind of treatment. So we took her there. The report came back that she had 2 properly...
Eric, behave yourself, no man.
2 properly working kidneys.
Oh, God, don't tell me that. What are you saying?
Because a lot of people were praying for her, including us, of course, from since then, coming through. From having 1 kidney to 2 properly functioning. Properly functioning.
You should have prepared me for this, huh?
Yeah.
You should have prepared me for
sorry,
this.
yes.
You should have
But
prepared me
no,
for
it
this.
have more. It have more.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
But I'll tell you something I found out through that whole process. When she was home recovering from the second one. Now, growing up, she was a daddy's girl, but it was actually kind of annoying at times. Because she always up in there, everything. She just, Jimmy, give me a chance. You know, it was like that. Yeah. But then, a little while prior to the whole endometriosis incident, I attended a couple seminar, my wife and I, with some other, folks from church and so on. And this couple, you may know them well, the Coffees.
Yes.
Right.
And Patrice.
Yes. They were there conducting the session. And that was actually the first time I heard about something called the love languages, which that was a big thing for me. And you had physical touch, words of affirmation, etc., that kind of thing. Her love language, I didn't know at the time, was physical touch.
Daughter.
Yeah, so she always wanted to be around me, hug up, squeeze and thing. But the thing is, I put that in her. I just thinking back after, because that's how I was from small.
Yes.
You would see some pictures where I had her sleeping on the chest and stuff like that. Or I would sleep with my arm over her, covering her.
Yeah.
So, over the years, I didn't understand that what I was doing at times was pushing her away. And nobody could find out, nobody could tell us what caused that whole string of incidences, what exactly was going on, how she ended up there. Here's how my eye opened up to it. One day she home recovering, and she was having some pain. I tried, bear with me with this one. She's having some pains. So my wife is there trying to comfort her. And then she called me. She said, Daddy, come and sit down here. And then she leaned on me like that. And no lie. After about 10 to 15 seconds, she said the pain stopped.
That was the effect you had on your daughter.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that is when everything just opened up. I was like, all the nuts and things just connected. And I didn't realize I was the cause. As much as I was trying to be, whatever I was trying to be,
Eric,
I was pushing her away.
No,
understand what I'm saying.
Because, let me interject here, because you're saying that there are times when she'd be up on the and you'll say, girl, whatever. But in the way you would say it, do you think she didn't know Daddy love her?
Nah,
She just, it's just that you're busy and...
Yeah, I know, but that was when I tie up everything from way back coming down, I realized she reached a point where I wasn't there as much as she would have liked. And when I engage her, then all of a sudden she just light up and, I wasn't even seeing that at the time. Yeah. So, no, I'm not saying I may have been the only cause, but that, I know for a fact that would have contributed because she started to stress.
Yeah.
She started to stress, and we know how stress can, the kind of things that, happens to the body.
I don't know. I hearing what you're saying, but I think that you are blaming yourself unnecessarily. And that happens when, there's a loss. You start thinking, maybe if I would have done this, I would have done that. Because at that point, because actually having that revelation, I started to change how I did things. And I actually saw a change happening in her. Oh, I got you.
You know, so that's why I could go back and say it's because of that. Because when I started to be around more, be more physically affectionate, that kind of thing, we actually started to see physical progress.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is a testimony, I understand.
No,
Chez Jean Designs in San Fernando provides customized clothing from sassy to corporate, conservative to casual. Email janiskazo@gmail.com or call 793-1668 for consultations.
Live a life of victory and find peace and hope in today's troubled world. Visit us at Holiness Revival Ministries. Call 628-7407 or 622-5826.
When you got the news, and I want to take it there, but I don't want to take it.
Let's go.
You sure?
There's a learning experience.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
When you got that news that, hey, your daughter's in an accident, what was going through your mind?
About could be somewhere between 5:36 that morning, I got a phone call. Good day, I'm calling from the area police station. Could I speak to Mr. Alverez, please? Speaking. And I heard when the person kind of sucking their breath. I didn't know what to expect. Because I thought Jamie inside sleeping. Not doing that, she went out. She told her mother. And she went out with her friend, a little lime. Again, Jamie, which she's done on many occasions. Mr. Alverez, do you have a daughter by the name of Jamie? Long story short, when she gave me the news, I bawl out. I mean, I bawl out, Nicole. My wife was right there. Well, I just, girl, Jamie died. We didn't change that language. Jamie died, you know. And we just started bawl out.
Did you believe it? Did you think it has to be a mistake?
No. And I felt it.
Yeah.
The way they said it, I mean, I remember police, they can't be making that mistake. No.
Yeah.
And within seconds, our son rushed in the room. And Nicole, I kid you not, I always tell people this, from that moment to today, my son was a different individual. It's like he knew he had to step up. And like he just grew up in the space of a few seconds. And that was devastating news.
So you were screaming, bawling, you know, your goal has passed. But at the same time, you are the head of the family, so you have to be the strong man. Yeah,
the ball didn't last long. I had to shift gears.
You just shifted gears and went back into...
One time. And here's how I was able to do that. Some years ago, I attended a seminar, and this organization was talking about an institution they have, where if people who, for instance, about to die of cancer, you know, the doctor give them like a month to live or whatever, they would now spend time with the family, preparing them for the death. You know, of course, they would spend time with the person who is about to go to, but more so with the family, so that they could deal with and life progress after that. But that changed how I thought. I saw it broader than that.
Yeah.
I started looking at the reality of life. I will not have my daughter with me forever, or my son, or even my wife. Yeah. Should I wait till then to start preparing myself to cope with the loss? So long before that, I had already started shaping my mind that someday I may lose one of them. What do I do then? So when that happened, immediately that whole thing clicked back one time. So it was easy to make that shift. Okay, they're gone. What now? Life has to go on.
Yeah.
What do we now do from here? And I just jump in again. People were shocked to see I post something on Facebook because I want my friends and family to know. Why? She dead. What's the big secret? She dead. Everybody will know. Send it out. Give us, guys, I had bad news, just got this call, Jamie gone, etc.,
was it therapeutic for you to get it out there?
It was.
Rather than to get into
In fact, as I said, therapeutic, let me just add this. And this might be, again, an eye-opener for some people. And I learned this through the process because a couple of years prior to that, I lost a brother. And then not too long, just a couple of years ago, I lost my father and another brother. You know, different circumstances. But one of the things I learned through all those processes is that you have to reach a release point. You have to bring yourself up to the position where you just release everything. Otherwise, you could hold on to the grief and it could eat at you. One friend told me some advice a doctor gave him. He said, grieve, cry, bawl, do what you had to do, but don't fall in love with it. I couldn't understand that at the time. But I understand what it means now. We could fall in love with the grief and, you know, because we want people to pity us and be, you know, to show that kind of extra affection that we may not normally get. So we use that for that.
But here's the thing, Eric. I feel that society has it that when you hear of a loss, especially when it comes to a child, you expect the mother to be crying and bawling, and because it apparently affects her more than the father.
And there's a logical assumption too,
But it's not true.
Not always.
It is not always true because, I mean, there are men that are grieving up to this day, but they've never shown it. They've never shown because we bawl, cry, throw down ourselves and whatever else. But they keep it in. They implode.
Yeah. And that's something I learned from, I think it was my parents. Or should I say my mother? Because my father had a saying, thoroughbreds don't cry.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Thoroughbreds don't cry, you know. So, but I learned the softer side from my mother. And I learned as a man, it is okay to cry. Because I'm alive, I have feelings, I have emotions, things impact me. So what's the big thing if I cry? you know.
Yeah. So you will cry in front of your son?
Of course. Of course. A couple of times I put them sit down, you know, when I felt I was failing in some area. I put the family sit down, I came out openly and I cried in front of all of them, you know. Because, I want them to understand I'm being real. I'm not faking, I'm trying to hide nothing. This is me. I feel hurt, I feel shame, I'm embarrassed about what I did. And I want you to understand that. And I also want you to feel okay to do it when your turn comes.
Yeah. For people listening, viewing, maybe fathers and so, and they've heard your story, and they've not been able to come to terms with the loss of their child. As a matter of fact, they've not even been allowed to because they think that it's not manly. What sort of advice would you give to them?
I think the first hurdle that we had to cross, and we have to cross in certain terms like that, is to simply accept the reality. It sounds easier than it is to do, but I think that's the first hurdle. Until you can reach the point of accepting that, you can't move on.
But you have to grieve first before you accept it. You're going through, maybe it's not, the police make a mistake. It has to be, you go into this denial phase.
Actually, I did the reverse. In order to grieve properly, I had to accept.
And why am I not surprised that you did the reverse? Eric?
Yeah, that's how, for me to move on and to grieve properly over, I had to first accept that. Because if not, then what am I grieving for? You know? So I first had to accept, okay, she's not here. All right, this is going to hurt, etc. How do we move on? And then everything's at a bottle up and it's at a ball now.
But here's the thing,
I first had to accept.
Eric, I recall asking you maybe about 2 years after she passed if we can do an interview. And I saw with the same smiley face, you said, no, I ain't ready yet.
Yeah, it took a while.
So that grieving process, even though people may seem to think that everything is okay, you're back on track, but it's still painful.
We still grieve.
We still grieve.
We still grieve. We still have moments. We would just, it's like everything just kind of dump on you and we just have all these memories and we just break down and we still have that. And again, acceptance. We understand you can never really move on from that. You learn to move on in life, but you really don't move on from that experience. That stays with you, especially if you have good memories. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And you have had a lot of good memories for 25 years.
Oh, gosh.
I want to thank you for being so candid and so open and sharing your journey of grief and, most importantly, healing as a father who has lost his daughter. And she's in heaven.
Oh, yeah.
That's important, eh? Yeah. God bless you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Oh, I love it.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
This is Nicole Larsen Live, living in victory every day.
It's a little over 3 years now since our second daughter, Clarice, went home to be with the Lord after a brief illness. And even though the years have gone by a bit, we still feel that pain and still feel grief over her not being here with us. It seems so unreal. It feels so unjust that, being so young, she was taken away from us. She's no longer here with us. It's the Lord who has really, by His grace, strengthened and sustained us through this period since she has been gone. I miss her every day, and I thank God for the hope that we have as born-again believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, that death is not the end. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, and I look forward to that day when we reunited together in heaven. We are just together again, never to be ever separated again.
Jen Style customizes cards, limitless in expressions. For special occasions, call 1-868-7N-STYLE. Instagram Jen Style Cards TT, Facebook at Jen Style.
And now let's hear from today's expert, clinical therapist Natalie O'Brady McDowell.
When we think about loss and loss of a child, we need to understand that everybody experiences that loss a little differently. And unfortunately, in society, we tend to associate the sadness and the pain and the sorrow and that prolonged grief with only women. Because again, we think of women carrying the child for so many years, so therefore there is that greater connection. But we also need to take a moment to consider the impact on the father of the child, especially when that relationship with the child was a very unique one, especially when we think about fathers and their daughters, daddies and their girls. So you find, and daddies and their sons are also very important, because a son means a legacy, a future. But a daughter, there's that protective instinct, that kindness, that teaching her how to love and how she should be appreciated. So when we have those really strong father-daughter bonds, or even if, let's say, as a father, there was a measure of estrangement in your relationship because you only have visiting access to your child, and then your child dies, you can find that you experience that pain just as significantly as the mother who carried that child for all those years. And what does that pain look like in men? Yes, you would feel that sadness. Yes, you would want to cry. But somehow society tells you that you're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to be crying. But then if we don't allow ourselves to cry as human beings, then it can turn into something called complex grief, which then becomes unhealthy. So you would find that some men will take a moment and they can't hold up. They're bawling. They're sitting on the ground. They're holding their head. I remember a gentleman sitting, just going down the road and just sitting at the side of the road, hot sun, and just holding his head. Because somewhere society says, no, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be experiencing pain. You shouldn't be crying. But we want to say, yes, fathers, if you lose your child, the pain will be as profound and you may find yourself crying. For some other men, you would find that, think about coping in terms of just becoming busy. You're going back to work, you just want to make the dollar. You want to make sure that the family have everything. You want to make sure that the funeral is perfect. You want to make sure that there's a memorial for your child. So you're just out there going after the dollar. And that is your way of coping with your loss. And that is okay as well. But it's important for you to take a moment and pause and to have that conversation and confront that pain. And even if it means, yes, shedding a tear. And for others, you may find that sometimes, unfortunately, we have negative coping. So negative coping might actually be going by the bar and hanging out for some reason or the other, because that's where women will normally call a friend and have a conversation, but men sometimes will have that same conversation by the bar. And you could find yourself drinking a little more than you would normally, or being at the bar a little more than you would. And I want to say that is unhealthy. It would be important for you to have those real conversations with men that you trust, your inner circle, be it a brother, an uncle, your father if he's alive still. Just have that conversation, or your pastor, your minister, so that you can begin to heal rather than attempting to escape that particular pain. A question might be asked in terms of, okay, my child died 3 years ago. Why does it hurt so much as though it has happened yesterday? And it's important for us to recognize that grief, the loss of a child, is a pain that you will carry with you until you die. But the ability of that pain to impact your daily functioning is what will decrease with time. So you would find that within the first couple of years, the first 18 months, you have days or weeks where you just can't function. You're depressed, you're angry, your faith has wavered, you're questioning God, you're angry with God. And then you might find 3 years later that sadness comes, but it doesn't last for an entire week. It doesn't last for 2 or 3 days. It might just last for a day or half a day. And that is okay, you know? And then, but 10 years later, for some strange reason, the pain just seems to be, it's an entire week. And I thought we passed this phase. But what might be, it might be, you know what, my daughter might have been getting married today, you know? What about, you know, you start to think about unconsciously, you know, I might have had a grandson or daughter at this point. So as men or even as parents, that loss, as time goes by, you unconsciously check the milestones that may have occurred or would have occurred at different times in their lives. And therefore that in itself can trigger a response, a grief response. And you may find yourself going back to that place of re-experiencing the loss as though it just happened, or just going into that place where you experience the full gamut of emotions that surrounded the loss when it just happened.
And now some motivation and inspiration from the desk of June Doyle.
As fragile and broken as you may sometimes feel, it's time to celebrate your next move. God will give you back health and heal your wounds. Stop being afraid of your past. Your past brought you to your present that shows you have survived everything that was sent to count you out. Just keep going. Some days you're going to be okay. Other days it still hurts. It's all part of the journey to recovery. Just keep going. When all is said and done, know that you are going to be okay. Let the struggles change your life for the better. Rise up, start fresh, see the bright future in each day. God is the strength of your heart and your daily portion. You will not be afraid. This is June Doyle, author, motivational speaker, signing out. Keep the positivity alive. Let's make the world a better place for you and for me and for everyone.
Amen. Lord, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for every second of every minute of every hour that we know you are with us, leading us, guiding us, ordering our steps. Amen. And you are the only one that we trust every day, in every way. Hallelujah. Help me worship him today, wherever you are. From the rising of the sun till the moon begins to shine, my delight is in you. I'm consumed within your fire, so my passion and desire is for you. No enemy can touch me in your presence. Surround me with your fragrance, your joy and your peace. You lead me through the deadly valley. You're my shepherd and you guide me to truth. From my youth, you are the only one who covers us and you shelter us. You're the living word. Oh yeah, forevermore we want to stay with you, exalting you, worship you in truth. I like to find you in my secret place. When I seek your face, feel your warm embrace. Oh yeah, you are the only one who fights for us and you favor us. Lord, we trust in you. From the rising of the sun until the moon begins to shine, my delight, yeah, is in you. I'm consumed within your fire, my passion and desires for you. Yeah, and no enemy can touch me in your presence. fragrance. When you surround me with your fragrance, your joy and your peace. You lead me through the deadly valley. You're my shepherd and you guide me to truth. From my youth, you are the only one who covers us and who shelters us. You're the living word. Oh yeah, forevermore we want to stay with you, exalting you, worship you in truth. I like to find you in my secret place. When I seek your face, I feel your warm embrace. Oh yeah, you are the only one who fights for us. Every morning you favor us. Lord, we trust in you. You fight for us. Yes, you favor us. And you prosper us. You bless me, you bless me. You fight for us. And you favor us every day. You prosper me. You bless me, you bless me. You fight for us. In the evening you favor us. My Jesus, you prosper me. You bless me, yeah. You fight for us. And you favor us. You're the living word. Forevermore we want to stay with you. We want to worship you in truth. From the rising of the sun until the moon begins to shine, my light is in you. You consume me with your fire, my passion and desires for you. And we bless your name again today, Lord. You're the only one that we can rely on, faithful and true. Forevermore, I really, really want to stay with you, exalting you forevermore, yeah. God bless you.
Thank you to Eric Alverez for sharing your emotional and gripping story with us, as well as Pastor Patrick Rondon. Insightful advice from clinical therapist Natalie O'Brady McDowell, the wisdom from the desk of June Doyle, and of course Sean Daniel, inspiring us in song. Until next time, wishing you a blessed and victorious week.